Hi, boys and girls. We're ready for our next writing lesson. Today, I'm going to read you a story called Ralph Tells a Story. This little boy is just like you. During writing time, he thought really hard and he just stared at his paper. And he even stared at the ceiling, but he couldn't think of anything to write about. Let's read the story and see what Ralph does to help him think of a story to write about. Here we go. Ralph tells a story. Ralph tells a story. My teacher always said, stories are everywhere. And the kids in my class were always finding them. Then my mom ran so fast that she caught up with the ice cream truck. Yay, stories, stories! After that, I decided to hide my Halloween candy in my bed. I ran down the hallway with underwear on my head. The dentist forgot to give me a toothbrush. But every day at writing time, I thought really hard. I stared at my paper. I stared at the ceiling. I could not write a story. Then Grandma gave me a cup of coffee and said, "Don't tell your mother." Ah! I have no story. So I looked for other things to do. I went to the water fountain. I roamed the hallways. Can I go to the bathroom? Again? I tried everything. Can I go help the lunch ladies? What? Then one day, after getting sent back to my desk, I begged Daisy for help. I can't write a story because nothing happens to me. Are you kidding? She said. I've written a ton of stories about you. Stories happen to those who tell them. She began pulling her stories out of her desk. Look at this one, she said. Remember the time that you let me brush your hair? And this one? Remember the time you knocked down all the crayons? Oh, and remember the time you painted your nails with black marker? I thought, I'll never be a great writer like Daisy. Then Daisy stapled all her stories together. Click, click. Wow, she said, this book is already 13 pages. Click, click. Can I use the stapler? I asked. I was really good at stapling. But you have nothing to staple, said Daisy. You have to find a story first. Just look around. So I looked for stories. Out the window. In the aquarium. In my desk. Why do you have socks in your desk? And when my teacher wasn't looking, I looked for stories on the floor. But still, no stories. That's my favorite part. Look, my next book, The Sock Mystery by Daisy. Lying under my desk reminded me of lying in the grass at the park. I closed my eyes and imagined I was at the park, just like that time a little inchworm crawled on my knee. The sun was shining right into my eyes. Squinting, I picked up the wiggly inchworm and looked at it close up. And that's when my teacher found me. What's your story about? She asked. I opened my eyes. I saw an inchworm. Wonderful, she said. I can't wait to read what you wrote. But there was no inchworm story. I sat down and tried to write about an inchworm, but right away I got stuck. Do you know any inchworm stories? I asked Daisy. She just rolled her eyes and kept on writing. And then my teacher said, "Writers, come to the rug, time to share." "Ralph, why don't you go first?" said the teacher. I pretended that I had lost my paper. It didn't work. "He's sitting on it." I walked to the front of the rug. It took a long time. I held my paper against my chest so no one could see it. "I was at the park," I said. An inchworm crawled on my knee. It was quiet. My heart went thump, 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 thump. That's when I looked at Daisy. "Wow, really? Did it feel squishy, Ralphie? Did you take it home?" And then everybody started asking me questions. "Did your mom let you keep it? Did you touch it? Was it a baby? Was it a girl? Did it tickle? Did you name it?" Wait a minute, I thought. Something did happen with that inchworm. Well, I picked up the inchworm and decided to name him Nick. I built Nick a house, but he just inched away. So I followed him, which is why I didn't notice that someone was following me. And then, all of a sudden, this wobbly, crazy baby grabbed Nick and put him in his diaper. I tried to be calm. "Come on, baby," I said really nicely. "Give Ralphie the inchworm." It didn't work. Was this the end of Nick? But then I noticed Nick wasn't escaping. He crawled right up to the baby's stomach. Quickly, I rescued Nick and ran. And we spent the rest of the afternoon doing nothing together. The end. Everybody clapped and cheered. "Show the picture, Ralph," someone said. "Wonderful, hooray, yay, Ralph." I wasn't embarrassed anymore, so I did. That was last year. This year, I write stories all the time. I keep finding stories everywhere. This book might be too thick to staple. 100 Funny Stories by Ralph. Writing tips from Ralph. Number 1, get comfortable. Number 2, it's okay to ask for help. Number 3, you can always write about what you had for breakfast. Number 4, eat lots of chocolate. Books by Ralph. When I Ate Too Much Spaghetti. The Shampoo Mystery. The Marker That Never Ran Out. The Crazy Supermarket Cart. When my mom bought me the wrong size underwear. The Lunch Lady's Friend. When my backpack was really heavy. The Case of the Missing Ice Cubes. The Worst Staple Jam Ever. When my baby brother ate hot sauce. The Scariest Hamster. When milk came out of my nose. Daisy's embarrassing birthday party. When the librarian yelled really loud at me. The smelly Band-Aid. When the principal tripped. My bathroom emergency. The inchworm returns. The end. Raise your hand if you've ever felt like Ralph. I know I have. I'm sure many of you have. Today we're going to make something so we can never run out of stories to write about. It's called a brainstorming map. A brainstorming map is a reminder of adventures or things that could happen to our characters. So you're going to find any piece of paper, any scrap piece of paper, and you're going to write some ideas down. So I have my notebook with me. So let's see, what's some ideas I could write about? Well, one very easy one would be about school. There's lots of things that we could write about school. So I'm just writing school. So if I run out of an idea, I can look at my brainstorming map and remember, oh, I can write a story about school. How about the park? I know I took my boys to the park the other day. I could write a story about taking them to the park. How about pets? I'm sure lots of you have pets. You could tell a story about your pets or your family. So I want you to find a piece of paper and I want you to make a list of some different ideas, like what I have, but even more, that when you're stuck about what to write about, you're going to pull out this brainstorming map so you can write. This will help you. You can write as many stories as Ralph does. Once you're finished writing your brainstorming map, put it in a safe place. See you for tomorrow's lesson. Bye-bye.